Welcome to another wonderful, wonderful day full of Geeks and Gamers Daily. The whole day. Probably not. Let's start over again. Hang on. All right, here we go. Just kidding. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Geeks and Gamers Daily. It's me, Jeremy. It's Ryan, the most positive man on the internet, and we're here to talk about the latest Hollywood nonsense. Hi, Ryan. How are you in your brand new setup? Looking like a real YouTuber for the first time ever.
Yeah, I know. It's been like, I figured, what has it been, 8 months or something since I actually had a decent setup. So I figured it was probably time. So I stayed up till like 4:30 in the morning, like on Friday. I mean, I know that's normal for you because you're just playing Fortnite.
Fuck yeah.
But I stayed up till like 4:30 in the morning, just putting all this shit together. It's not finished, but a lot of the stuff that I've wanted to have up for a while is finally here. So I figured it was time.
Hell yeah. Look at there. Saw some 199s in the Crowder chat. Good job. Look at that. Look at the 199 representing all ways. But yeah,
Nice.
back in Orlando. Back to shitty internet, probably. It's so nice to live stream and not have any internet issues whatsoever in Pensacola, but get back to Orlando. You have no idea what's going to happen. Although normally during the day,
It's fine usually.
it's fine. It's usually it's the late night streams.
Typically, they're probably doing like maintenance and stuff at night
Mm-hmm.
where they figure most normal people are not doing anything.
Yeah. Fuck them. Okay. Suddenly, so it's conveniently that never happens to me in Pensacola. So, I mean, do we just not do maintenance ever in Pensacola, or maybe we just have
Sounds
good
like
internet?
you don't.
Maybe we just have good internet. Fuck Spectrum and their bullshit for all of their problems. But we got a few things to talk about today. And man, this Rachel Zegler stuff, like a lot of it's older footage that's
It is
just kind of getting
old.
repurposed. But
Like 2 weeks ago, when all this stuff started happening, I had already made a video about 6 months ago on the
Mhm.
things she said. You know what I mean? But it
Mhm.
really just started getting more traction, started going around, and normal people are seeing it. And I think the interesting thing when it comes to Rachel Zegler and Snow White is it's not just conservatives who are mad, right? That's not the only thing. You have just
Yeah.
Disney fans and Snow White fans who are just shitting all over her.
Yeah.
So the hate's coming from a lot of different directions.
She has become she makes Brie Larson seem like a very nice and pleasant individual.
First of
If you
all,
go
Brie
back
is
to
nice and pleasant,
no, she's
but
not. She's very unlikable.
I've
And you
got
know
an
it.
article. We're going to get into it in a while here, but I've got an article that says Rachel Zegler is the newest Brie Larson. Is
Really?
Disney's new Brie Larson? Yeah.
There we go. There we go. Look, J Tripped Poo. That's an
He looks
account.
so happy.
He looks so happy. Jay did trip poo, and that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. But yes, so she's very unlikable. Then we have this whole thing with the Ahsoka, show. When is this supposed to premiere? Like a week, something like that. It's supposed to premiere.
August 23rd or something. So yeah.
Yeah. I am not watching it. I will say, Ryan, I did start watching something though. I
What?
watched the first 2 episodes of Twisted Metal.
Okay.
And it's fucking good. It's
It just
really good.
I
It's
just can't.
really
I
good.
just
Did you play Twisted Metal back in the day?
Yeah, but I don't remember anything about it other than the fucking cars were cool. Like,
Yeah. Oh man, this show, like, I've only gotten like a couple episodes in. There's some cringy comedy to it and stuff like that in the first couple episodes, but like it just sets a really good tone. And I like the world that they have created, and it really does feel like I'm watching the video game and them, intertwining storylines into it. Sweet Tooth is so damn cool. I really, really like Twisted Metal so far. Only 2 episodes. They're only 30-minute episodes, so they're really kind
Sweet
of
Tooth is the
quick.
clown, right?
Yes. And he's played by Samoa Joe, professional wrestler Samoa Joe, but his voice is done by Will Arnett. And it's seamless. It's seamless in terms of like it doesn't even seem like they added a voice to it, but bro, it's really good so far. Anyway, so we'll see. But after first couple episodes, I highly recommend it. And it kind of just keeps creating this video game entertainment that seems to be the next wave that we're going to get. I hear Gran Turismo is good. I can't speak to that. I haven't seen it yet, but I hear Gran Turismo is good. Obviously, we've had the Super Mario Brothers movie. We've had the Sonic the Hedgehog. I even liked Warcraft. I didn't hate it. I'm not a Warcraft person, but I fully appreciated what they were doing. Apparently, it was made for more hardcore fans of it, but I liked Warcraft. I thought it was good. there's a lot of video game entertainment and Twisted Metal, man. I saw the trailer for this movie for this show, and I was like, this looks terrible.
Yeah.
It's
I
I enjoy it.
We're interested in it, like, despite people praising it. We'll see. Maybe I'll what is it on? Peacock or something?
Peacock, yeah.
Yeah, that's might be one of the streaming services I do not have.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yep. Yeah,
It
absolutely.
only has like 22 million subscribers or something. It's really low compared to all the other streamers out there.
Yeah, so the WWE Network is on Peacock now, which this is this is like the first time I've ever signed into Peacock ever. And I was actually because Jay was over here last night and was looking through all the WWE content. And yeah, so all the pay-per-views are there, everything like that. So that's the one positive for me outside of I didn't really see a whole lot else that was interesting on the entire platform outside of WWE Network. But yeah, Twisted Metal, I like it. We'll see. I'll continue to watch it. I'll try to finish the season out here in the next couple of days, and I'll let everybody know what I think about it. But so far, so good. I like it. Like it a lot. This is the first. Jeremy says it's good when Angry Joe says it's bad. Well, Angry Joe, there's been
Probably
a
not
couple
the
things.
first time ever.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? Angry Joe complained about something else recently, didn't he?
He used to complain about a lot.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, imagine a guy named Angry Joe getting mad because other people are angry on the internet, building their brands off being angry. Amazing, isn't it?
It's wild. He should
Rename your channel Angry Ryan.
No, he should rename his to Mild Take Joe. Like, that's basically all it is anymore.
Yeah.
I never really watched him or anything. I did enjoy his coverage of The Last of Us Part 2 because he was one of like the bigger channels out there that also did not like it. You know what I mean? And was calling it out.
I think I've watched Angry Joe for a long time, and yeah, it's crazy that same wheelhouse as him, I guess, at this point. I talked to him a few times, talked to him privately. I don't know if he'll ever kind of fully understand, or maybe he just doesn't want to understand our world, our perspective. But yeah, I used to watch him a lot back in the day. Crazy world we're in, man. This crazy YouTube world. People I used to watch all the time, I'm interacting with. It's wild. Makes no sense to me whatsoever. Well, let's get a few of these super chats really quick, and then we will. Linko Kenobi, what's up, guys? I watched Spider-Man Lotus a couple of days ago, and it was good. Looking forward to playing with you guys on Wednesday, Star Wars Battlefront. Yeah, Linko Kenobi's been playing with us. And yeah, I haven't watched the Spider-Man that everybody's been talking about. Have you seen it?
I have not watched Spider-Man Lotus. I saw some of the pictures from the premiere and stuff like that. Obviously, it's getting a lot of hate because of some of the people involved with it and comments they had when they were like 18 years old and Instagram DMs or some bullshit, like racist comments. But the excitement level was like hype when the first trailer came out for it because it looked so cool. And then obviously a lot of people who would have probably been coming in their pants over it were all of a sudden, oh, I don't know. I hope it fails because of the people involved.
Yeah. Guess we will see. The long way.
It's a corn cob.
Damn it. God damn it. Chase Greasy Wheeler, give me back Mike Hawk. Said it slow enough for you. Cole Hauser, happy Monday, dudes. Ryan, Wino, G.I. Joe, Transformers on your shelf. Either way, you're good. You're a good bro. Thanks to you and Jeremy for a great Monday morning. Ahsoka sucks. Channing Tatum sucks. Yo Joe 199. He doesn't have good enough taste to have G.I. Joes or Transformers.
I don't have any.
So
I don't have any G.I. Joes. I don't have any Transformers.
That's
the main thing.
We got to change that.
I've never been a big toy guy. You know what I mean? Like with all that other shit. I like Star Wars, so I like collect Star Wars stuff that I like. But that just goes across the board. But in terms of anything else toy wise, I've never been huge into that. I've got Star Wars and DC stuff. That's pretty much it.
All right, respectable. Sorta amazing says first super chat. What's inspired by Geeks and Gamers and Nerdrotic to make a channel? Released a short today. Best of Snow Brown. Thanks for all that you do. Hail the 199. Hail the fellowship. That is awesome. We love hearing that. We love when people go out there and create and, give yourself a voice. You could change the game. I mean, we're seeing it across the board with independent media, independent content creators. Richmond, north of Richmond, has taken
Yeah.
over the freaking world right
It's
now.
so good too. I
It
can't stop
is.
listening to it.
Yeah, it really is. So the best thing you can do is get out there and just try to have your voice heard. That's all it takes. So congratulations on your channel. Rob says, I actually like Twisted Metal, and we'll put it over the top. Was when the dude was actually the hero and saved Quiet. Yeah, I can't wait to get further into it, and I like it. I like it a lot. Coalesce says, good morning, Geeks and Gamers. Hope everyone is doing all right. I have my gripe on the Warcraft movie when it comes to the lore as a hardcore fan, but I still enjoyed the movie for what it is. Blessed be the 199. Thank you, Coalee. Grizzly Nightmare. Jeremy from the Quartering lost his father this morning, so send him much love. I did see that. As
Yeah,
a
I
matter of
just
fact,
saw that a couple minutes ago on
right
Twitter.
here. Here's his tweet. Just left my parents' house where at about 6:30 a.m. this morning, my father passed away. I'm going to work today because I'm not sure what else to do, but I'll say this. 2 weeks ago, I unloaded praise on my folks, thanking them for making me the man I am today, and I'm so thankful I did. Don't wait until the funeral to tell someone you love them. So nothing but thoughts and prayers to the Quartering, Jeremy. I've talked about this many times. Quartering has done a lot for me. He's always had my back when needed it. He's a legit good dude. And, anything he needs, I've always got his back as well. So really sorry to hear that. Really am.
Yeah, that sucks. So
Yeah, it really
prayers
does.
with his family.
Yep.
And sorry for Quartering's loss for sure. But I do get that perspective in terms of I don't really know what else to do, so I'm just gonna try to keep things as normal as possible. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes
Yeah.
that's the best way to just keep grinding through shit.
Yep, 100%, 100%. Remember when criticizing Marvel and Star Wars, you got labeled alt-right? Seems like everyone is doing it now. Matt Pat put out a video on stuff you guys have been saying for years about Disney. I know the name Matt Pat. I don't know much about this person, so I gotta look at Matt. I gotta look at Matt Pat now. Matt Pat, are you doing it now? Matt Pat.
That the game theorists? That's the first thing that comes up. And film theorists.
Okay, so that's who it is then. Okay. Yeah, I've seen Matt Pat before then. Okay.
Oh yeah, Disney is finally dead. Here's why. 22 hours ago.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting how.
Yeah.
That you're 100% right. This speaks volumes right here because and I'm not saying this about Matt Pat. I can't speak about Matt Pat per se, but like a channel that size, there's no fucking way that a channel that size was crushing Disney 3-4 years ago, even 2 years ago when we were, because if you did, you were labeled alt-right. You were labeled a Yahtzee. You were labeled a racist, sexist, misogynist. And now it's like everybody's doing it. You're 100% right. It's become like the popular thing now.
You got mainstream articles and like Variety and Deadline being like the new normal for Disney, box office flops, blah, blah, blah. It's like, all this shit was happening. It's been happening for years and people ignored it. And now it's gotten to the point where it's impossible to deny. So,
yep. Yeah, 100%. So it's just,
I've never watched, I know I've seen the channel run. I can't say I've ever watched a single thing. It's wild how many just monster channels there are on YouTube, even covering the same stuff we do, that I have just no idea about them. You know what I mean? Like that channel is like 20 million subscribers, and I don't know who they are, what they talk about.
YouTube's a massive, massive platform, man. It really is. But let's go ahead and talk about Rachel Zegler, I guess.
You want to do Rachel Zegler, or you want to do your girl Ahsoka?
I mean, either way is fine with me. Either way is fine with me. TJ just dropped 20 gifted memberships. Thank you, TJ. Holy crap, you guys are lighting it up today.
Yeah, let's talk. We might as well talk about Ahsoka and old man Anakin. Man Anakin.
I have literally no interest in this show whatsoever. I have zero interest. Zero. I can
Not at
offer
all?
nothing.
Have
None.
you seen the trailer that we're about to watch?
I saw the first trailer, the one that we reacted to. That's the reason I watched it, because you played it on here. I just have no interest whatsoever.
All right. Well, this trailer has piqued the interest of a lot of different people, despite the fact that I feel like we're in a fucking time machine where a year ago, right around this time, people were just so excited to see Hayden back and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And that ended up just shitting the bed, being a total and complete disaster, and ruining his comeback to Star Wars. Here we are a year later, and people have been neuralized by the Men in Black because they're once again excited to hear Hayden Christensen being back in the Ahsoka series. But to me, even though Disney was trying to keep this under wraps and then kind of accidentally spoiled it, it feels to me like they're desperate to let people know that Anakin is back for Ahsoka, because he essentially voiced over this entire new trailer that they just put out. Let's just listen to this the first time Jeremy's seen it.
Everyone in the Order knew Anakin Skywalker. Few would live to see what he became.
By the end of the Clone Wars, I walked away from him and the Jedi.
In this war, you will face more than just droids. As your master, it's my responsibility to prepare you. I won't always be there to look out for you.
I could use the help.
Once a rebel, always a rebel.
Don't be afraid. And trust your instincts. I know you can do this, Ahsoka.
That was the fucking Force Awakens trailer is what that was. That was the Force Awakens trailer. It's the same fucking music beats. You've got, instead of Mark Hamill narrating, you've got Hayden Christensen now. That was the Force Awakens trailer all over again. Fuck Disney Star Wars. Like, yeah, if you hadn't fucked everything up prior to this, I would be interested in that in isolation as a Star Wars fan. I would be interested in that shit. You have fucked this. There is a Force Awakens trailer that is literally the exact same beats. The same exact beats. You don't get to fool me after all this time. Fuck you.
That's what's wild to me. Listen, they know. To me, this is Dave Filoni in terms of like cameos and like pulling your heartstrings on things that you care about and like weaving them all together where they really don't belong to be to get you to care about something. And that's what this is. Now, who knows how much we know about the sequences that have leaked in terms of, hey, this what if scenario, if Ahsoka had gone to Mustafar and her getting a glimpse of what that may have looked like to get people to care about that. This sounds to me like it's probably going to be a flashback from taking place during the Clone Wars, right? When I first heard it, I actually thought it was lines that we'd heard before from Matt Lantern's Anakin, but I can't seem to find where it is. But it does sound very familiar to me. Obviously, that's Hayden as Clone Wars Anakin talking to Ahsoka. Yep. And it's this attempt to get people to care. And I'm going to be honest, I've said from the very beginning, I think the vast majority of the general audience is going to be coming in their pants over this because of how much they love Anakin and how much they love Hayden and how much they want to see it. And it's going to be very similar to some things. Like you mentioned Force Awakens. I mentioned Mando Season 2 in terms of all flash and all member berries, but no real substance. I think that's what Ahsoka is going to be.
Play that fucking trailer again, and then I'm going to play this Force Awakens trailer I'm talking about. Just listen to the music and how they're using it and how they're trying to dive back into the past.
Okay. And this again, so this is, I think his name's Balon, played by the late Ray Stevenson, who of course survived Order 66, and of course also knew Anakin Skywalker. And here we go.
Everyone in the Order knew Anakin Skywalker. Few would live to see what he became.
By the end of the Clone Wars, I walked away from him and the Jedi.
In this war, you will face more than just droids. As your master, it's my responsibility to prepare you. I won't always be there to look out for you.
I could use the help.
Once a rebel, always a rebel.
Don't be afraid. And trust your instincts. I know you can do this, Ahsoka.
Same fucking beats as this shit right here. I'm just going to start it like part way through, but
there are stories about what happened.
It's true. All of it. The dark side.
Same fucking thing.
The Jedi. They're real.
Yeah, fuck them, dude. Listen, fuck you, Disney. Fuck your Star Wars. Fuck your garbage. Fans told you that we wanted you to honor what came before it, and you said, fuck you. We have new characters, and if you don't like them, you're racist, you're sexist, you're misogynist, kill the past, let it die, all of that. Nobody cares about that. I'm sure Ahsoka's going to do big numbers. Again, if you look at this show in isolation, and it's going to hook a lot of people. It just is. I am numb to Disney Star Wars at this point. But if you would have shown me that trailer, I don't know, 3 years ago, maybe 3, 4 years ago, I probably would have been like, holy shit, this is going to be amazing. I've been there. I've done that. I've seen this way too many times. You don't get a second, third or fourth, fifth chance, whatever it is at this point. I'm done. I'm out. And that felt just like Force Awakens to me. That's what it did. So I cannot.
This show is going to drive me crazy because it's so many things that I absolutely despise about Star Wars, about like what they're doing with Star Wars, and a lot of people are gonna be loving it and praising it. I hate Dave Filoni. I hate the character of Ahsoka. I hate when they bastardize the expanded universe, right? I hate fucking empty jangling keys, and it's just all gonna be combined into one thing, and it's gonna be much like Force Awakens in terms of the reaction from people, and I'm gonna hate it. And I'm gonna be sitting there fucking probably raging because I don't like it.
I anticipate this being a huge hit.
Yeah. So it will be interesting to see what happens because right now it doesn't look like they think it's going to do Mando numbers, like according to them, like according to like what Disney's expectations are.
Come on, Mando season 1 though.
Well, Mando season 1 and 2, you know what I mean? They're not expecting those
were
numbers.
Huge numbers though. Those were huge.
Well, they were relatively huge.
For them.
Like, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, it's the biggest thing that Disney Plus has done.
No, that's the biggest Star Wars thing that they've done. WandaVision was bigger than Mando.
WandaVision was bigger than Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Well, so it depends what you mean in terms of how did it do throughout its entire run or how was the first episode? Because again, one thing you really gotta fucking pay attention to with this stuff is how it drops off. Obi-Wan dropped the fuck off after that opening.
It did.
But also, just like Obi-Wan, just because Obi-Wan was bigger than WandaVision, but I believe WandaVision was bigger than Mando in terms of how many households watched it its opening week. But that was in the beginning of Disney Plus too, and there weren't as many subscribers. A lot of shit to look into there. But same thing they're doing that they've done with a couple of these series. They're debuting 2 episodes right off the bat for Ahsoka, which are a total of an hour and a half long. The reason they're doing that is to bump up that first week's streaming numbers in terms of minutes watched.
Well,
so that they can really go up there on the Nielsen charts.
It will be interesting because I'm drawing a blank now because I didn't watch most of it. What was the most recent Star Wars series?
Mando season 3.
No. Well, then what was the other one?
Boba Fett? Obi-Wan?
No, fucking Cassian.
Oh, Cassian Andor.
Yeah. So no one really watched that, and most people liked it that watched it. You know what I mean? But no one really watched it because the Disney Star Wars brand has been hurt so bad. So we'll be interested to see. I still think this is going to be a really big hit. I think a lot of people are going to watch it. And again, to be clear, for me, all right, I'm a fan of the Ahsoka character. I like Rosario Dawson in this role. I think she's really, really good. I've liked everything I've seen from her up to this point. I'm always happy that Hayden Christensen is getting an opportunity to at least, I don't know if Obi-Wan Kenobi did a lot for like him, the character, but I'm sure it did a lot for him on a personal level, to kind of get him back into the world and relive that and everything. I'm a huge fan of Hayden Christensen. I think he got a lot of unnecessary hate for everything during the prequels. So I really respect the hell out of the guy. So I'm always happy from that perspective. This is less about the people involved from a talent standpoint and more about the creative stuff that's been happening. And I just do not trust them at all. And Obi-Wan Kenobi was really like, I wasn't even going to watch that, but people wanted me to watch it, and that's fine. But like, I'm at a hard line of I just will not watch Disney Star Wars. I just won't do it now. I'm done. I'm out. I can't do it. Can't do it. I'd rather just literally do anything else. And I know I'll get a lot of views if I review Ahsoka. I just will, and I know that. I don't fucking care.
I'm prepared. I've been saying the same exact thing for about 6 months about how I think Ahsoka's going to do. That's what's going to happen. We'll see. I know I saw some people that were like, the first episode's 50 minutes, the second episode's like 45 minutes, and then the third episode is like 30 minutes, which is it's just the unevenness of the way that Star Wars does their shit for some reason. I don't know why. Disney does not know how to make television like that. In the way that HBO does. When you look at HBO Max, whatever the fuck you want to call it, stuff like House of the Dragon, somehow they managed to, one, make a really good show, and two, keep all the episodes like a fairly similar length, right? Range between 50 and 60 minutes essentially. But it's because they're also putting on HBO as well at the same time. So it's like they have filmmakers and talent and production crews that are used to doing things like that. And I feel like it feels weird when you tune into an episode of Mandalorian and it could be 25 minutes or it could be 55 minutes. You never know.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. It's a weird dynamic. But yeah, I'm out. I'm out completely. And I'm not sure I'm ever coming back ever. And I know that's a pretty definitive stance on it, but I'm not sure I'm ever coming back to Star Wars ever. Even in 20 years from now, maybe when Elon Musk purchases it and fires 95% of the freaks there. I don't know.
I just fucking hate Ahsoka so much, especially as Rosario. I know you like Rosario Dawson, but the character just feels emotionless and dead.
Like her portrayal of it.
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know, man. It's just going from animation to live action is always kind of it's a whole different ball game. I don't know. It's a tough balancing act, I guess. I wasn't expecting Ahsoka in live action to just have the same quirks and the same emotions and the same kind of feel as the animated version. It's almost like anything else. Like Matt Lanter's Anakin
that's
is
not
10
Anakin.
times. It's 10 times. He's 10 times better though. In terms of feeling him and doesn't matter. He still feels again.
Okay.
It's animation versus live action. It's hard to compare the two.
So I disagree. Like I disagree with the fact that it has to be different. Look at Rosario Dawson's portrayal in the Daredevil. I talked about this yesterday in the Daredevil Netflix universe, right? Even if she had just kind of had that much kind of a little bit passion, enthusiasm, and a little like lightheartedness, like just that portrayal transported into Ahsoka would have been better. But it's one thing to not move and not, all that stuff in animation, 100%. But to not have the same personality or whatever is wild to me for the character. Now, when it comes to Anakin, with the Matt Lanter portrayal, because of the target audience for Clone Wars, you can get making some adjustments and things like that. But Ahsoka is a character that now you have this one iteration of her, and I think you got to bring her to live action. And
I feel like
make the
Ahsoka
bullshit up about her being young because we saw her in Rebels, and she still had that spark.
I disagree. I think Ahsoka and Rebels did feel slightly different and more
she was mature and more melancholy in a way, right?
Yes.
Because of all the shit she'd been through. And that was perfect. That was a perfect way to transfer it for this character who has matured and who's gone through a lot of fucking shit and isn't the fucking happy-go-lucky person we saw in Clone Wars. But that's the portrayal we should be getting, is the Ahsoka from Rebels.
And I feel like it's the jump you get from Clone Wars to Rebels is kind of the jump you get from Rebels to the live action. I feel like it's a natural progression. I feel like it's a natural progression.
She's just
But,
sounds like she's in a fucking cult. That's the
Um,
progression.
no, I don't think. I think you're again. You praise Channing Tatum's Duke for crying out loud. What do you fucking know? But and then that's a joke. You don't know anything about it. You're just trolling me. Yeah. I don't have a like. I expected to have a problem with Rosario Dawson's Ahsoka. I just thought it worked, and I wasn't looking for just a direct ripoff of the animated version. Or a direct cut, or I guess I should say, of it. I thought she did a good job, and she felt like she should be a mature, kind of more stoic character at that point in her life, based on the direction that they've moved her over the years and what she's been through.
I think I wonder if it has anything to do with Dave not being super experienced with live action stuff. Like actually as a director, working with fucking actors live like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, maybe. I mean,
Because he is the guy who's done the Ahsoka stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. At the end of the day, I don't.
Everybody in the fucking Mandoverse talks like that. It's not just the cult members. It seems like everybody in the Mandalorian shit.
Well,
and
I
then
would
the people
agree.
who don't stand out, like the fucking dumb afro-headed Tatooine bitch.
Well, but I would. Well, but then, so are you going to say it's Jon Favreau's fault when he's clearly gave us one of the greatest live action Tony Stark, the comic book characters of all time, which has got all the personality in the world. And yes, it's Robert Downey Jr., but nobody else is picking Robert Downey Jr. for those roles. When Jon Favreau, put his arm and plunged it down in the filth and pulled Robert Downey Jr. out. So, are you saying it's a Mandoverse problem now?
I'm just saying, like, I've noticed that too. So I'm just asking questions about what it could be. Is there like a different reason for this? Is it because they're acting in the volume? Is it, you know what I mean? Because of the way that they're setting things up and it's so different and strange and not normal for these characters to act in that way. I don't know.
Overall, I will say though, I don't like the tone of the Mandalorian. I don't like the tone of Mando. He's just so fucking dry, and I don't like the slow moving pace of the show. The show moves, especially the first season, it moved so slow, and nothing was happening. So I can see where that's an overall problem with the entire universe, if you want to make that point for sure.
Yeah, you know how we see a lot of times characters, especially with the work of Marvel, complain about having to work on green screen and like stuff like that. It's essentially what the entire Mandalorian is, with the volume and everything. So maybe is that one reason? Because I don't know. That's just the way I see it. I have an issue with the way Rosario's portrayed, and that makes me think of all the cult Mando members are kind of supposed to be in a cult, so it makes sense for them to talk like that, but not everybody else.
Yeah, I can see that. I want to hit this real quick. Jeremy, Super 7 is coming out with a line of Silverhawk figures. Hail the 199. While the announcement is exciting, I personally think Super 7 is overpriced bullshit, and I say that as someone that keeps buying their fucking G.I. Joe figures. I'm not the biggest fan of the Super 7 line. I think they're way overpriced, but I will buy them. But with the Silverhawks, and I love Silverhawks back in the day, Silverhawks action figures are super cool. I don't know what a Super 7 line is going to look like on that. So I'll be interested to see, but I'm glad we're getting more Silverhawks because Silverhawks is amazing. There we go.
There was a minor league baseball team called the South Bend Silverhawks when I was growing up.
That's all you know about Silverhawks?
And we went over Silverhawks one time here.
Saw Gran Turismo, huge fan of the series. They did a great job balancing member berries and narrative performances are great. A lot more heart than I expected and some emotional moments. 8 out of 10. See, man, people are like, oh, there's just a bunch of bullshit. I'm sorry, man. I'm seeing a lot more good stuff right now. If you just eliminate Marvel and fucking Star Wars from the equation, and probably DC to a lesser extent, there's a lot of good shit out right now, especially video game content. And with Twisted Metal and Gran Turismo, from what we're hearing about Gran Turismo, I've seen the first 2 episodes of Twisted Metal, and it's really good. There's a lot more good out there than I think gets credit for because we're so bogged down with the Marvel and the Star Wars bullshit. Marvel and Star Wars is terrible, and a lot of Disney shit. Generally speaking, just Disney is pretty fucking bad. Okay, if you want to do that, Disney. with Pixar, with Marvel, with Star Wars, and then DC is a whole different problem in its own right. But if you eliminate all that from the equation, it's a lot of good shit out right now, man. You know?
There's so you've named a couple things,
Yeah.
but
Like Dune, I'm looking forward to Dune Part 2 more than any film
right.
in recent memory, mainly because of how good Dune Part 1 was. And again, that one kind of flew under the radar because it didn't do huge box office numbers. Obviously we've seen
It got released on HBO Max on the same day as well.
Yes.
And that was, I do think that was the biggest release that Warner Brothers had for the day and day shit. Like by far. When you look at Wonder Woman 1984, that made like $190 million worldwide. When you look at The Suicide Squad, like $180 million worldwide. John Wick, not John Wick, The Matrix 4. Wasn't that also released day and date? And that did not do well at all. But Dune made almost $400 million despite being released for free on a streaming service. Not like Black Widow, right? They got released for paying money. On the streamer.
Yep. I mean, like for me, I know Barbie's kind of the big discussion, and I've seen it. I'm glad it's doing well, but like Oppenheimer was my thing, and I want to go see Oppenheimer again. It continues to just crush it at the box office, which is insane. Like it's got better legs right now than Barbie. Now, of course, Barbie's made more money, but its holds are slightly better than Barbie at this point. It might push to 900 million when it's all said and done, which is insane.
It's insane.
That is insane. A 3-hour biopic, a World War II biopic about basically one man with literal no action. That's crazy. That is crazy. And yeah, I think that there's an argument to be made that Oppenheimer got a nice little bump opening weekend because of the Barbenheimer meme. Outside of that, this has nothing to do with the meme. This is 100% about the quality. Again, I was shocked that people liked it as much as they have, because after I saw it and I loved it, I even said, I was like, normies are not going to like this movie because it's a 3-hour dialogue film. You know what I mean? But people are loving it.
There's a movie that got released this week called Gaydar. But I think it's probably pronounced Gadar. But as I was just like rolling through, to see what's out, because I get what you're saying. There's also a ton of dog shit out right now.
100%, 100%.
You know what I mean?
There, absolutely there is. I'm not saying that there's not, but I'm saying like we've been dealing with so much bad stuff for years. There's some good stuff. Like again, Mission Impossible is a phenomenal movie. It's
gonna flop, but it's awesome.
Sucks that it flopped, and it flopped hard. Sound of Freedom. We all know how great Sound of Freedom is, and it just surpassed Indiana Jones. Love it. Again, I didn't see Across the Spider-Verse. People loved that movie.
Gaydar 2. You're gonna go see it?
No, I'm not gonna go see Gaydar.
Gaydar. It's the sequel to Bros, I think.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, I'm not saying there isn't bad shit.
Yeah.
But I think the difference is now that there's more good stuff to focus in on. And that's kind of what I've noticed. Will it last? I don't know. And time will tell. And I think, like, again, Twisted Metal really stood out to me because I looked at that and I'm like, this looks bad, with Anthony Mackie and the cringe. And again, let me just be clear. In those first 2 episodes, there's still some cringe comedy in it that doesn't land. But overall, the world that they've created and the environment that they've created, I really dig it. And for the most part, the acting's really good. Dialogue's good. The chemistry's good. And the world building is really good. So we'll see. I'll try to finish it up in the next few days. But that and Gran Turismo, I saw the trailer for Gran Turismo, and I'm like, I didn't cringe as hard at the Gran Turismo trailer. But again, you watch something, and you're just like, what? We're so hypersensitive to anything coming out of Hollywood because of what we've seen since essentially 2016. And you have to prove to the audience that it's not garbage bullshit that you've seen. And apparently Gran Turismo is another good example of that. So
Gran Turismo, when I saw the trailer, I didn't think, oh, what a shit movie. I didn't
think so
garbage.
either.
I just thought like, whatever. I had no desire to watch it. Chris Scores told me it's really solid and that it's a really good racing movie. It's not like groundbreaker or anything, but it's a good racing movie.
Hell
So,
yeah. I want to see it.
That's cool.
I want to see it. Yeah, but time will tell. Dune better stick the landing, bro. I'm just saying, Dune better stick the landing.
This ain't the landing. Still got one more after this.
Well, what I'm saying though is you still like, unlike most films that I love, I can love them in isolation. So like, if you go back to anything, I don't know, Batman Begins didn't need The Dark Knight to be good for Batman Begins to remain good. Dark
Dune,
Knight didn't.
You're right. Because the way Dune ended,
Yes.
it needs the second part to be good.
It has to be, because it leaves so much anticipation. And so Dune Part 2 has to be good to continue that greatness of one. One needs it. Spider-Man 2 did not need Spider-Man 3 to be good in order for Spider-Man 2 to remain one of the greatest comic book movies ever. So we will see.
But that's like its nature, right? This movie is adapting the book, you know what I mean, in two parts.
Yeah.
So like it's why it's set up that way, and it makes sense. So, and I don't really know. I think that was the best way to end it, to be honest, knowing what comes after that in the book itself. So I didn't have a problem with it ending that way, but it was rather sudden, you know.
Yeah.
And for most people, if you're not familiar with it, it would be probably a little bit weird to end on that note.
Yeah.
Even Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 ended in a way where it's like, okay, clearly we're gonna have something going on after this, but it ended with a resolution of that main story.
Right. It tied it up. And so it's like, I'm not sitting there going, Part 2 has to be good in order for me to still enjoy Part 1. That's not how I feel about Dead Reckoning. Stop calling things Part 1 though. Doesn't help.
Mission Impossible 7 Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Oh, it's so bad. It's such a bad title. It's almost like they went to the Team Xbox, you know, to get their naming. Like, hey, Xbox One, Xbox One S, Xbox One X, Xbox Series X.
It's like, hey, we have 100 characters. You don't have to use them all, you know. That's what always tells me on my titles for my videos. I still always max them out.
And we have the Dune expert in our chat, Nerd Cookies. Shout out to Nerd Cookies.
That's right.
Nerd Cookies is if you want to know about Dune, just check out Nerd Cookies. She can fill you in on all things Dune. All right, we got a lot of people here. Thank you guys for being here. We appreciate it. We got to read a few super chats, and then we got some more topics to get into. So Ryan, have at it.
Disco Cobra for $50.
50.
How much damage does Disney MCU have to do to their property to get the message? As long as people keep giving these shows, movies a chance, they will make back their money and keep making the same junk. Vote with your wallet, just don't watch it. That was, to me, it was the slightly disappointing part about the whole Anakin Ahsoka thing was, God, I just see so many people getting pulled right back in and given hope for it. And I think it's wild, but I understand that my perspective is not the same as a lot of other people, so it's frustrating for me, but it is what it is. That people love Star Wars. They love this thing that's been around for decades and decades and decades. And just the slightest chance that they might get something enjoyable at it from a character that they loved, that might be enough for some people to give it a chance, even though they've gotten fucked in the ass over and over again.
Yeah, I'm essentially to Disney Star Wars at this point what Ryan says Rosario Dawson is to the Ahsoka character. I have no emotion. I'm
dead
lifeless.
inside.
I'm dead. That's me. I don't care. You're not gonna get me back. I'm done.
Let's see, where the fuck did I go? Another $50 from Linko Kenobi.
Linko
for 50. I'm going to watch Ahsoka, but I'm still not liking the fact they're expanding this character. But I'll watch because of Ray Stevenson's last performance. But I wish George Lucas did not give Disney Star Wars away. 199. Yeah. That's the whole thing. It's Ahsoka's entire. I wish they would just, if you're gonna keep her alive and all this shit, just let her fucking do her own thing. But the thing that makes Ahsoka special is that she's so attached to Anakin. So you just have to fucking spatter everything with Anakin all over the place instead of just letting her do her fucking thing.
It's just none of this makes sense anymore. If your whole point was to build a universe around Ahsoka, then fucking do that from the beginning. Like you've already told us, like we already know what fuck.
Well,
We already know what
we don't because I don't know if you know this, Jeremy, but just because Ahsoka was one of the all dead Jedi that were speaking to Rey at the end of Rise of Skywalker, that doesn't mean she's dead, okay? Dave Filoni said so. And he drew a little fucking portrait of Gandalf and Ahsoka. Oh, people thought I was dead one time too. And these characters are basically the same now, according to Dave Filoni.
Well, but even still, and I was definitely going to go in that direction with that, but even still, like just the universe in general, you already told us the story of 30 years after Return of the Jedi. We already know what the galaxy looks like. There's nothing to anticipate. There's nothing to look forward to from that perspective. And you made a choice, which I supported the choice at the time. You made an active choice to say, we are going to jump forward 30 years into the future and we're going to tell you the story. And I thought that, hey, that decision was probably made because the actors are older, you know what I mean? And they want to tell
Makes
that
sense, yeah.
Makes sense, makes total sense. Your intent to do that, Disney, was to move on completely from the George Lucas era. That you said that many times. That was your intent behind it. Again, if that was your intent, that's fine. But you have done nothing but actively go back to the exact era that you claimed you wanted nothing to do with. The same era that got fans called racist and sexist when you said, hey, can you guys just kind of, focus on, George Lucas's era, Star Wars, the original trilogy and all of that. No, we can't. And now you're doing it because you're basically creatively bankrupt. You have no way, you can't tell a story to save your life without tying it back to George's creation, which is fine. That's how it should have been because it is George's creation. But you moved on from the sequel trilogy. You actively decided that the sequel trilogy outline from George Lucas was not good enough to your standards. Can you imagine what Star Wars would feel like right now if you carried on George's vision? It would feel a lot different. It'd feel a lot better if you carried George's vision and if you kept him on as an advisor, which is the perfect role for him at the time. It would have been the perfect role. You use his outline, you use your resources, you use your directors, and that's fine, but you're using his story and you have him as an advisor. Star Wars would have felt completely different, but you decided to move on from all of that. And now you're going back to it because it's all you have. Fuck you.
It's funny because you look at those outlines and who knows how much would have changed between when they got the outlines and what they eventually decided to do. George is pretty notorious for changing his mind a lot. But when they get those outlines of like, we can't make this. This won't really work. That's exactly what people were telling George about the original trilogy, right?
Mm-hmm.
About Star Wars,
Yep.
for years. And that's why once he got the freedom to do it, he didn't want anybody telling him that for the prequels, and he just did his own thing because he knew that no normal Hollywood studio was going to go for that thing. That's what, in all likelihood, his sequels would have been too. Maybe they would have done well, maybe they would have been shit, but it would have been the creator's vision, and people can swallow that.
A wise man once said that he sold his creation to the white slavers.
That was him.
No, I know. You ever seen that Jennifer Lawrence, George Lucas meme? God damn it, where's it at?
No, about slavers.
Keep reading super chats. Let me see if I can find it.
Okay.
Actually, I can't remember. No, it was Beyonce and George Lucas. You remember that one? You've seen that one.
Slavers. Oh. Valientes for 20. So for the entire Galactic Civil War, we're supposed to believe Ahsoka sat on the sidelines, never thought to contact Luke, Yoda, help the rebellion. Then post Return of the Jedi, she says, I think I'll help now. Ahsoka should have died in Order 66. That's my whole thing. It makes no fucking sense that she was gone for that long of a period of time. And then she just shows up in her gay ass white fucking cloak.
This is a side of Beyonce the internet does not show you. When she was young, she saw a young boy crying along the road. She asked him if he was okay, and the boy said, "It's my birthday, and I want to buy a Darth Vader toy, but I don't have any money." Beyonce gave him $100. She told the boy, "Don't be sad anymore. Follow your dreams." Believe it or not, that boy grew up to be George Lucas.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Oh, it's on the internet. It must be true.
I never knew. Beyonce's responsible for all of it. I get why you thought it was Jennifer Lawrence, though.
Well, there was another Jennifer Lawrence one kind of in that same kind of realm. I can't remember. I'll have to look that one up, see if I could find it. But yeah, I fucking love the internet.
Marcus Henry for 20. Plain Girl put out an apology. Did you guys see it? I wonder if she has a Twitter so I can follow her. She's funny as fuck. She does have a Twitter. That I'm telling you what, that fucking apology, that's a fake person. That's like AI or something. That motherfucker is not real. I don't know why. So my guess is actually that she probably got a lot of pressure from her workplace.
I just think it was overwhelming as hell, man. I mean, look, this
100%. But like
went
the way she
viral.
The way she apologized makes it feel like she was getting a lot of pushback from her work. She works at some like marketing or ad agency or something like that.
Yeah.
So that is my guess as to why she came out and said that. Whatever. I want to apologize for my profanity. Who fucking cares? I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's hard to process what she's gone through, considering how viral that went. I mean, that was big. That was a big time thing. And so I know a lot of people like, oh, it's not the same person. It's like, oh my God, like,
yeah, she's actually got makeup on. Yeah,
it's her. All right, it is her.
It's a clone, Jeremy, just like what they did to Jamie Foxx.
I mean, like next thing you're gonna like, are you guys telling me that this isn't real? Are you telling me are you telling me this is not real? Because this is provable fact. All right. This is Donald Trump teaching a young Tony Hawk how to skateboard in 1973. That is real, Ryan.
It was all
Did
him.
Did you know Trump actually taught Tony Hawk how to skate? Did you know that?
I believe it. It's just impressive he's able to do it with those shoes.
Have you seen this account?
It's like, oh, here's fucking Trump with his friend Martin Luther King. Here's Trump inspecting the Titanic. He did a walkthrough and said this isn't safe, but no one would listen. Yeah, I fucking seen it. It's all over.
It's the best account on Twitter, dude. So fucking stupid.
Dumb.
Inspected the Titanic, informed the crew that it could not withstand hitting an iceberg.
God.
Oh, the internet's fantastic. TJ says, "Hail Jeremy, Ryan, to all you beautiful people in the chat. Hope everyone's surviving whatever insane timeline we're in at the moment. Love you all." And TJ dropped those 20 gifted memberships earlier. Thank you, TJ. Appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate you. Mikey Gussler, what's up, Mikey? How come it's okay for Matt Reeves to have his own Batman universe, but Snyder can't because his films made money, especially domestically? Well, I mean, how many movies has Matt Reeves made?
1.
Okay. Pretty sure Snyder's made like 3.
Well, I think he's asking, like, why is it okay to have this own separate, like, they get the DC reboot, but they're still letting Matt Reeves do his shit. Now, we also don't know, Mikey, what the contracts look like, what they might have to pay to get out of doing that, if they're willing to let who fucking knows? But I like the Batman. I'm looking forward to the Batman 2. That movie did do $775 million, something like that. So it did solid. It obviously made money for them. But yeah, DC's a fucking mess right now, dude. The Gal Gadot stuff is kind of the final straw for a lot of people in terms of James Gunn's leadership. The fact that now all 3 members of the DC Trinity that existed before this, You have the Henry Cavill stuff where, remember, Josh from Den of Nerds, but I'm hearing that James Gunn doesn't like Henry Cavill, gets in an argument with him on Twitter, calls him like a basement dweller, and then like a month later fires Henry Cavill. You've got the Ben Affleck stuff where James Gunn said, we love Ben Affleck. We'd have a lot of conversation. We're really looking at him to direct a DC movie for us. And then 2 weeks later, Ben Affleck's like, yeah, I've never talked to anybody about that. I'm certainly not directing a movie in James Gunn's DC universe. And now you have Gal Gadot coming out and saying, hey, I know Patty's gone, but they told us that I sat down with James and Peter Safran, and they said, we love you as Wonder Woman. You're in good hands. We want to do a third Wonder Woman with you. And then Warner Brothers has people leak out later in the day. That's never fucking happening. Like, this was supposed to stop all this stuff. This is supposed to like put new people in charge. Like, let's change the DC culture of all this misinformation, different people going different ways. And for the last 8-10 months, however long it's been since the announcement, it's just a shit show.
It really is. And I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in it. I mean, I do like James Gunn in terms of, like I said, I like all of his Guardians movies. I just, this DC thing just feels like a convoluted mess and a disaster. I guess we'll see. I mean, at the end of the day, it just comes down to make good movies, and we'll see if he makes good movies. But from a leadership standpoint, it's kind of a disaster. It really is. I guess Blue Beetle's going to make like $25 million opening weekend. Something like that.
25 to 30, somewhere. So if it hits 30 and just at 30, it is the worst opening of any DC movie outside of Wonder Woman and The Suicide Squad, which again opened during COVID and also released on HBO Max same day.
Yeah, and as far as the Batman, I'm not as high on the Batman as you. I didn't hate it. But it's meh.
I don't want to see a fucking Penguin series. I don't give a shit about that.
Yeah.
If they're still doing that for Max, but I in terms of the Batman 2, I want to see that.
I like the Batman more than I liked anything Snyder did, but it still doesn't mean it's good in my opinion. It was fine though. It's fine. It's enough. Like I overall the tone I enjoyed. The score was phenomenal. I thought Pattinson was fine.
The ending is not good. You know, the ending is messy. It's like they had 3 endings and couldn't pick which one, so they put them all in.
I like the Gotham. Gotham was Gotham felt like a real character. And that's the best thing I can say about the Batman. So I didn't hate it. I thought it was fine.
I enjoyed it. I like the idea of this young Bruce Wayne who is like a year or two in and really struggling to find a balance between his life and his obsession, you know, and how to make those things work. The idea that he's like almost becoming nocturnal himself and like doesn't like the fucking light anymore because he's just obsessed with being Batman and has completely forgotten everything as Bruce Wayne, not realizing the fact that there's actually a lot of stuff he can do as Bruce Wayne that he might not necessarily be able to do as Batman. And he needs both of those things in order to be most effective.
I've seen it twice. I think the second time I definitely liked it a lot less. But again, it's fine. It's fine. That's the best thing I can say about it. It's fine. TJ just dropped 10 more gifted memberships. Thank you, TJ. Look at all that green in the chat. Appreciate you, TJ.
Mikey Gussler for 10. Did you see Amazing Atheist made a video? I don't think anyone watches him anymore, so no. But he made a video about how you guys' narrative of get woke, go broke is false since Barbie made $1 billion, and you have no right to use that saying anymore.
Oh my
Thoughts?
God.
Well, I can still use that saying because, like I said, I don't think Barbie is this fucking this woke masterpiece like everyone's fucking trying to make it out to be. I've been pushing back against all the people that have been saying that from the very fucking beginning. So I think a lot of people that thought that are the same ones that said it's going to fall off in a big way second weekend. That fucking never happened. I just think there's a lot of people on our side that have misinterpreted the movie.
Well, let's use that retarded argument. So because let's just hypothetically say that's true, because there's one example of something suddenly that just completely just obliterates the standard that's been created. That's so stupid. What are you talking about? I don't know anything about the Amazing Atheist. So
I know he shoved a banana up his asshole.
Not surprising at all.
But again, this is something that's made for specifically female audiences. It has a feminist message to it. That is Barbie. That's what Barbie has been since its inception.
I mean, we talked about Barbie like right before it came out with some of the stuff that was being said or some of the things that were talked about. Once the film released, I don't think anybody said that this was like gonna fail or anything here, especially here on Geeks and Gamers. I'm gonna tell you right now, nobody on Geeks and Gamers said it. No,
not on this stream, not here, not on my channel. There were certain. Let's just be real. There were people in our sphere 100% that were making the claim that it was just a trick marketing, and after people realize what it is, it's going to tank in its second weekend. There were 100% people that were saying that. There were people in the chat that were calling me out because I didn't think that was going to be the case.
Yeah.
It turns out to have exactly the hold that we kind of predicted here on this channel, which was really fucking solid. Maybe not as solid as the Super Mario Brothers hold in terms of that first weekend, but it's going to be really good. And it was really fucking good because people didn't feel tricked by the marketing.
Yeah. Strider wants you to know that this isn't your channel, Ryan. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I mean, if Jeremy made some more videos, it wouldn't be.
This is just as much Ryan's channel as it is mine. I learn how to spell next time. All right.
Where are we?
This show wouldn't exist without Ryan.
What's that?
This show wouldn't exist without Ryan.
Oh, I thought you said this channel. You know, believe it or not, I was still in the Navy and I walked across this young kid in a trailer park. He was barefoot. I asked, "Why are you barefoot?" He's like, "Well, it's because I can't count to 20 unless I got my shoes off." And he said, "All I want to do is create a YouTube channel where I can talk about geek and game and shit, but my mom won't let me." And I stopped. I got out of my Tesla. This was back in like 1995. I got out of my Tesla and I walked up to the kid. I bent over. I said, "Kid, you can do whatever the fuck you set your mind to." He was like, "Oh, thanks, mister." Believe it or not, that kid grew up to be Jeremy.
Exactly. From the moment you started that story, I knew exactly what direction you were going. Oh, man.
So.
That was good. That was good.
Nut Bunny for 14 South African dollars. Does Ryan have Star Wars undies?
I don't want to know.
I have one set. I have one set of underwear that's just like Han Solo and Chewbacca. I don't know. I do have those, but that's about it. Shadow's Saiyan for, am I saying that right? Saiyan?
Yes.
Cyan? I don't know.
Saiyan.
For 199. Shout out to Mr. Krista. Shout out to MCU fan.
Mr. Krista in the chat. MCU fan likes those Krista emojis.
CR for 10. If I were to cut things from Star Wars, I would only keep what George approved, which is as much as Ryan despises. Love you, Ryan. George did supervise and approve everything in Clone Wars. Well, I wouldn't say everything because Dave Filoni's been on record about tricking George to get things into the Clone Wars that he didn't approve. Dave Filoni has also Dave Filoni also has admitted that George Lucas wanted Ahsoka to die. He wanted him to live, or he wanted her to live.
Yeah, but that's just, you can't hang on to that. I mean, how many times has George changed shit on his own creation? You can't hang on the fact that Dave said me and George had a disagreement. Therefore, that's just the end all discusussion. Like, that's such bullshit. George Lucas can't even stay consistent on his creation. Don't hang on to that.
But George has done okay.
Ahsoka haters hang on to that.
They didn't,
George wanted her
stick
dead
with his fucking sequel treatments, Jeremy, because he just would have changed his mind. He would have been fine with it.
George wanted her
dead.
With
his sequel treatments.
So George wanted her dead. That's the end all be all. But George also has changed a lot of shit. So the same Star Wars fans that are hanging on George wanted her dead bitched about George Lucas changing every fucking thing. So which is it?
I haven't bitched about George changing everything. I have a couple gripes.
Oh, fuck off. Don't tell me you haven't bitched as you're telling me as a hardcore EU fan, you haven't bitched about George Lucas over the years. Are you fucking kidding me right now?
Not nearly as much as a lot of the people you're claiming are.
But now his word is gold now. But now his word is gold when it comes to Ahsoka being dead. We can't question it, and it's a hardline truth. He would have never evolved that position because George never changes his mind.
But listen to what you're saying. Listen to what you're saying, right? You're saying that because George has changed his mind in his past, that you might as well just never listen to anything he's ever said about Star Wars. That's basically what your claim now is.
Saying that you hang on
because George has changed his mind about shit before. Nothing the man ever says about Star Star Wars
I
should
never
be
said
taken with
that.
any seriousness. You should not
no.
be like.
I'm
like,
saying
oh,
you haven't even heard George say it.
That's wild.
I'm saying you haven't even heard George Lucas say this. You've heard
Dave
Filoni, right? Right, you've heard Dave Filoni say, me and George had a disagreement. He wanted her to die. I want her. That's all you fucking heard. And you've taken this as
no secret that George has always been in the Ahsoka dies camp, and I've been in the Ahsoka lives camp.
And this nonsense that Dave Filoni tricked the fucking creator of the universe. Oh, George he just got tricked. The guy that fucking defied Hollywood and created the greatest IP in the world. Dave Filoni just tricked him, guys. You know, we know George. No, he just got tricked. Get the fuck out of here.
What are you talking about? Listen,
nonsense.
maybe you just think Dave Filoni's that untrustworthy. No, these are all things that have come from Dave Filoni's mouth. So
okay, that's fine.
That's
but the point being is that you're gonna act like George wouldn't listen to any fucking body during the prequels. He did whatever the fuck he wanted. Now you're claiming that Dave Filoni, the George Lucas yes man, manipulated and tricked George and also defied George on Ahsoka. So which is it? Is he a George Lucas yes man, or is he a guy that fought the creator for his vision? We can build this narrative however the fuck you want to build it.
When have you ever heard me in your entire life call Dave Filoni a George Lucas yes man?
I didn't say
you just set that dichotomy, right? I have never said that in my life. In fact, I've always said the fucking opposite. What are you talking about?
It is well known that during the prequels, George Lucas was surrounded by yes men, correct? Yes or no?
100%. Yeah.
100%. Okay. So no one around George was willing to challenge him. We have heard that argument 1,000 times that George would not be questioned. And if somebody would have been around him to question him and hold his feet to the fire, it would have corrected a lot of the problems in the prequels. That's a widespread problem. Now suddenly it's a bad thing for someone to question or challenge George. It's fucking retarded. Like, you don't like the guy, that's fine. But to build this, oh, George wanted Ahsoka dead. It's such nonsense. It's an argument between two fucking men over creative differences. That doesn't mean that you live on that for the rest of your fucking life. But you're like, George wanted her dead. It's like, you're acting like he's fought for 5 fucking years to kill off Ahsoka. And, you know, the attorneys came in and forced him out. Like, it's just a fucking disagreement. That's all it was.
Okay, so I'm glad you used this random argument about yes men from the prequels. Have you ever heard me say that I fucking can't stand the fact that George didn't let anyone around? I've never made these arguments. That's not me.
Say that Dave Filoni is a George Lucas kiss ass, and he basically just worked under George so he could learn George's ways and then manipulate and all that stuff. Which
I've never said that in my life.
Then what is your argument, Ben? How did Dave get so close to George then?
Well, Dave and George worked together on the Clone Wars, and over time, Dave started becoming the primary guy that did stuff, and he just approved shit through George. You know what I mean?
Okay, so George wanted Ahsoka dead, and what George wants, that's what we have to hang on, right? Well, George also wanted Dave Filoni to work on his projects.
He also wanted Kathleen Kennedy to take over Star Wars.
I agree.
Right? So I understand that.
You can't hang on. He wanted Ahsoka dead as being the end all be all.
I can go on. That's what we know. That the reason they had her leave the Jedi Order, right? That they did all of that. George wanted her out of the picture. George didn't want her in the rest of the story. Dave Filoni wanted her alive.
But you can't hang on that one excerpt of him saying, "Oh, George wanted her dead," and I've heard that more fucking times than I can fucking count from people that hate Ahsoka. It's like, "Well, George wanted her dead." It's like, really? That's what we're hanging on? Is a private conversation that Dave Filoni said happened between him and George, and, well, George wanted her dead. And you guys act like this was this big fucking thing. George Lucas has never fucking said anything about this other than you've heard Dave Filoni mention it once, and you hang on that like it's the fucking Bible. Holy fuck.
Well, first of all, George hasn't said too much about Star Wars in general over the past decade.
Exactly.
Right? He hasn't said too much about Star Wars in general, maybe for a reason, but when it comes to this, it's more than just that. It's about the ramifications of keeping her alive and what it does to the story, and how now Dave Filoni has essentially tried to make Ahsoka the most important person in the Star Wars universe.
George was too dumb. He's swindled by Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni tricked him. George didn't sign off on anything in the Clone Wars. It's all Dave Filoni, and we cannot have any. George Lucas didn't approve any of it. Okay, that's what we're going with. That makes a lot of fucking sense.
That's not what I'm saying about Ahsoka.
You said Dave Filoni tricked George Lucas. You said Dave.
That's a separate issue. That had to do with something they were going to do in season
How about
5.
why
And
can't
when he got George to approve it, he didn't show him what he was going to do in the final cut because he knew that George wouldn't
argument.
like it.
Have you ever heard me say that I hate Man of Steel and I try to take blame off of Christopher Nolan? Fuck that. Christopher Nolan's just as responsible for the dog shit known as Man of Steel. Why can't you George Lucas fucking fanboys admit that he created something that you fucking despise? You hate the fucking Clone Wars. George is responsible for the Clone Wars. Accept it.
I have criticized him a lot for the Clone Wars, for what he did and what Clone Wars has done to Star Wars canon. One of the biggest criticisms I have of George Lucas is that the decision to bring back Darth Maul, that was fucking terrible.
It's George Lucas's creation. He signed off on everything that happened in Clone Wars. You hate George's Clone Wars. Just admit it.
I do hate the Clone Wars.
George Lucas's Clone Wars.
Part of.
George Lucas's Clone Wars. Okay, then. So then don't divert from it. The super chat said George signed off on everything. You're like, well, Dave tricked him. What? Okay, Zack Snyder tricked
record.
Hey, Zack Snyder tricked Christopher Nolan.
You have tried to come back to every. Okay, if Zack Snyder, if we can pull up a clip of Zack Snyder being like, Chris didn't really want me to do this, so I didn't get it approved from him. I put it in anyway. Then that's what we would say.
You don't get that fucking argument. Christopher Nolan put his name on Man of Steel. Christopher Nolan doesn't put his name on anything. He put his name on Man of Steel. George Lucas, clearly, after what Disney did, he had no problem calling Disney out. Has he ever called out Dave Filoni as swindling him or lying to him or manipulating him?
No, he's never called out Kathleen Kennedy either, right?
He kind of did.
He said it's not my Star Wars anymore. It's not my vision.
Yes, he pretty much did call out Kathleen Kennedy.
So not by name. That's not talking about anybody else. It's just Kathleen Kennedy.
He's talking about Disney and Lucasfilm and the direction. You can't.
Isn't Dave Filoni like an executive vice president at Lucasfilm?
You can't call Disney Star Wars current direction out and not be directed right at Kathleen Kennedy. You can't fucking do that. So clearly he's called Kathleen Kennedy out. Yes. So the point being, this all comes back to, if you don't like Clone Wars, that's fine. Quit acting like George didn't sign off on every fucking thing that happened on Clone Wars, because he did. End of discussion. That's a fact.
I will just I'm going to take Dave Filoni at his word, where he's admitted that he got things past George that he knew George wouldn't be a fan of to get it in the final cut. Like, that's what Dave Filoni has admitted he's done.
That's what creatives are supposed to do. They're supposed to fight for what they want, and that's okay. I mean, again, George Lucas surrounded by.
As long as you're saying that.
Yeah, so George Lucas is too stupid to realize it.
That was my example in response to the super chat. So you are now admitting that happened. You're just rephrasing the way it happened. You think it's a good thing.
I'm accepting you at face value, which I question the motive behind it, because, again, you hang on, well, he wanted Ahsoka dead. And we don't even know that for a fact outside of Dave Filoni running his fucking mouth. But, I mean, we don't know the extent of that argument. We don't know if it was in passing. We don't know if Dave Filoni was just talking shit. Guess what? All these guys run their mouths. All of them say stuff. George Lucas has said contradictory things over the years about Star Wars. He's done contradictory things. So all I'm saying is, why are we hanging on the comment from Dave Filoni about one conversation as the end-all, be-all? It's bullshit.
That's what I have. I have Dave Filoni speaking about that in some of the behind-the-scenes stuff for Clone Wars. So that's what I'm using. Now, as long as you're willing to admit that, guys, like, the super chat said you proved everything, and I brought up a specific example, you said that's fine. You'll take it at face value. That did happen. You're just okay with it happening, and you're glad that Dave Filoni did those things.
I mean, again, it sounds like somebody's talking. He's talking about things that happened from his perspective. I haven't heard George Lucas talk about it. Are you of the mindset that creative people don't have creative differences behind the scenes?
Absolutely not, for sure.
Okay, then. Thank you. Welcome to the world of creation.
The reason I hang on to that is because in my mind, that is the absolute correct way that Ahsoka should have died during Order 66. That's the reason I hang on that.
You have time, more times than I can count. You've talked about how you didn't like the 199 movement thing that I was trying to push. You've thrown a little hyperbole behind it. It ain't like we had passionate debates over it. You kind of laugh it off like, oh, I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. Jeremy was really excited. I was kind of excited. You know, it ain't like we had a big fight over it. But like, we just had a minor little, hey, you know, I think this is going to take off. You're like, probably won't take off. That's all it was. So you saying that, then somebody's like, Jeremy and Ryan had a massive disagreement over the 199. Ryan, no, that's not what fucking happened. And I have heard this Ahsoka bullshit for fucking years. And it's finally to the point I'm like, God damn, guys. George Lucas created the fucking Clone Wars. He signed off on everything. You don't have to like it, but quit acting like he didn't have anything to do with it, because he had a lot to do with it.
I think the reason that it gets brought up, Jeremy, is because of the state we currently see Star Wars in, and especially this upcoming Ahsoka series, where the longer she's left alive and the more things she's involved in, like the more you can see that this was like never supposed to be a reality. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree with that.
I think that's the explanation as to why you've heard that a lot, because people are going back to that and realizing that, yeah, there's a reason. Like, she is alive, and now Dave Filoni gets to do whatever he wants with her, and a lot of people have problems with that.
Well, that's fine, but that's not what we would have gotten if George Lucas was still the overseer of Star Wars. It wouldn't be. We've seen Disney hijack this and give Dave Filoni far more creative control than he ever had. And he doesn't have George to debate him and keep him in line, which is what almost every creative needs. Every creative needs someone to keep a balance on them. They just do. And we don't have that now. And Dave Filoni is about the only person that has any real ties to the creative side of George Lucas. And so Disney's just giving him free reign to do whatever the fuck he wants. And almost in every scenario, that's a mistake. Almost in every scenario, that's a mistake to give a creative free reign. It just is. You always need someone that can check them and keep them balanced. Disney's just not good at what they do. Why is Rian Johnson so good when he doesn't do Disney Star Wars? Because he has leadership. He has people that are watching him. You just turn Rian Johnson loose in fucking Last Jedi, he gives us the biggest shit show we've ever seen. So leadership matters, and Disney has no leadership, and that's why Dave Filoni is able to kind of do whatever he wants and ruin everything. And I think that's a valid criticism. Leadership matters.
Dave Filoni is part of leadership, executive vice president or whatever.
Of course he is. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve criticism. Criticize him all fucking day long. I will. I hate what he's doing. I hate everything he's doing to the point where I won't even watch it. Doesn't change the fact that George Lucas gets no blame for the Clone Wars.
You can even watch my videos that I've made about like Darth Maul and death in Star Wars. I criticize George in those as well for being part of that process, like to bring Darth Maul back. And that to me, that is one of the biggest mistakes in Star Wars history, was bringing Darth Maul back.
I just think there's too many people trying to put too much blame. At the end of the day, I hate Man of Steel, and I've never said Christopher Nolan doesn't deserve just as much credit for that dog pile of shit as Zack Snyder. Christopher Nolan created the fucking Man of Steel script. He's the reason Warner Brothers got it. Because David Goyer, I think that's his name. David Goyer wrote the fucking script, took it to Nolan. Nolan's like, I'm taking it to WB. Nolan wanted Snyder involved. I'm pretty sure Nolan cast Henry Cavill, or at least had a hand in that. He's responsible for it. Fucking
I like Man of Steel, so
yeah.
Lee for 10. Disney Star Wars, let the past go. Yeah, I'll do that once you give some gosh darn good entertainment to enjoy, you bent. Thank you, Lee.
Yeah.
Mikey Gussler for 5. I'm happy that Oppenheimer's made $650 million at the box office, beat all these other movies like Disney films and Mission Impossible. I'm not happy it's beat Mission Impossible because I like Mission Impossible. But I get what you mean. Warwick of Legion Cast for 5. I passed a Sweet Tooth truck on I-80 a few weeks ago while driving across Iowa. Not sure if someone was part of the show, but it looked awesome.
Did you take a picture? That sounds awesome.
He was driving. That'd be very irresponsible.
Says you. I heard you on FNT. Like, what were you talking about? Like,
why I wanted to get an automatic and like get rid of my stick.
You're like, I can't eat and text.
I can't eat and text and drive and shift at the same time. It was good on the highway, but because you can drive with your knee pretty easy. But once you're in town, stop signs, it's a pain in the fucking ass.
I was driving when you said that, and I was laughing my ass off because you're like, yeah, you're talking about standards and automatics, and you're like, I can't eat, drive, and text at the same time without, like this dumbass.
Yeah, pretty much. Faded Ink for 50. George does what sells. Dave got massive clout for animation. Are we done? We'll never be done. But Thank you for the $50. George does what sells. I don't think
I agree
so.
with that.
I wouldn't. I would disagree with that.
Yeah.
Like George knows Jar Jar Binks didn't sell, right?
Yeah.
But he would be adamant that like there had to be a random Jar Jar episode in like a Clone Wars season, you know?
I can feel
The
George
Bomb
Lucas.
Bad General is still one of the worst fucking, or the Bomb Bad Jedi.
I could feel George Lucas sitting around going, "Hey, we got a lot of good momentum right now in Clone Wars. You know what? Throw a fucking Jar Jar episode in there. Fuck these bastards bitching about Jar Jar.
Let's have an episode with Jar Jar and Mace Windu.
Oh, that one was so bad.
Yeah.
It derails so much of the momentum. You're like, what are we doing here? But I kind of respect it.
Like an episode where R2 and 3PO are just getting like a birthday cake. It's fucking brutal. I would take those episodes over Darth Maul coming back to life. Coley for 50. King Cobra versus Ryan Zilla. Let them fight. Thank you. Sierra Tan, member for 2 months. Go ahead.
I'm gonna be honest. I only kept the fight going because earlier in the stream, Epic Mike, when we were casually, calmly talking about, and you can confirm this, Mike, because I know you can. When we were calmly talking about Ahsoka, Mike in the comments says, "How long do you think before it turns into a shouting match?" And I was like, "I got you, Mike. I got you. Are you still here, Mike? As I saw you." I was like, yeah, this is a good argument to push. Let's go. So
that's everything that Mike is ever involved in.
Yes.
Sierra Tan, member for 2 months. Hail Geeks and Gamers. Thanks for the awesome content. Yeah, you're welcome, Sierra Tan. I saw Mike on Ricada the other day, just fucking
yelling,
just
yelling.
We always kind of, make jokes about Mike being half black, half white. I got to admit, the blackest thing about Mike is how bad his fucking microphone is. That is the blackest thing about Epic Mike. All right. Undoubtedly. Every time you fucking hear it. Mike Hill, member for 2 years. Thank you, Mike. The Meg 2 is on pace to make more money than The Flash, and it costs $80 million less. It already basically has made more money than like 2 more days. It'll probably make more.
This stream's made more money than the fucking Flash.
Like the Flash is going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars. The question will be, will the Meg make money? It's doing big internationally, especially in China. But the thing is, you barely get any of that money from China. You get 25% of those. So if you make $200 million in China, the studio is only seeing $50 million of that, as opposed to about half of it here in the United States. So there's a big difference where the money comes from.
I've been trying to go back into stream comments and find Mike's comment, and I can't do it.
Stephen Wasick, member for 2 months, saw a photo booth to Photoshop yourself. I know a Marvel cover that will look better than anything from Disney Marvel. Hail G&G, an MCU fan, MSimpu fan. There you go. GJJ, member for a year. Catfight, thank you. Beetle Johnson gifts 5 memberships. Thank you. Cole Hauser for 5. Ryan, okay, good point. You're forgiven. I'll have to send you a shipwreck figure, Yojo. We haven't even talked about Rachel Zegler yet, have we? Fuck.
No, we haven't. Wait,
right,
why does Ryan get a shipwreck? I want I mean, I have multiple shipwreck figures. He doesn't get to have a shipwreck sent to him because he's never cared about G.I. Joe. Send me the shipwreck figure. Fuck him.
I don't even really want it or care about it, but I'd rather you send it to me.
Fucking bullshit.
Just to make Jeremy unhappy. We have to talk about this. Rachel Zegler continues to go viral. It seems like every day there's another clip that gets dug up, another interview of hers where she's trashing Snow White, either the character or the movie or something. And even headlines you're starting to see like this: Rachel Zegler is officially Disney's new Brie Larson. Now, you're welcome to everyone. After Brie liked my tweet, she's a changed woman. I think we all understand and accept that at this point. But they have quickly found a very unlikable and insufferable replacement in Rachel Zegler. You got articles like this: Snow White actor Rachel Zegler all but admits she hates the character in resurfaced video. You have stuff like this: Snow White star Rachel Zegler angers conservatives and Disney fans, insists the movie's prince stalks her character. Young star also wants to get paid every hour the film streams. This is another thing. This went viral yesterday. The new Snow White hates Snow White. Are you ready for this, Jeremy?
I've seen it.
Here we go.
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
God.
Weird.
This is insufferable,
Weird.
dude.
That's the interpretation that a 22-year-old who only watched Snow White one time when she was like 5 or 6 and then never watched again until after she was making this movie. That's her interpretation of the movie. But let's keep going.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
So no Prince or a different kind of Prince?
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because like we cast a guy in the movie.
Right.
Andrew Burnap, great dude.
Yeah.
It's
Now, this guy's not the prince. He's just a random dude. So there is not going to be a prince in this movie. That's not going to happen because they want to be about her fucking getting her, what is it called? Agency. Of course. It's got to be about her finding her agency.
it's one of those things that I think everyone's going to have their assumptions about what it's actually going to be, but it's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
God.
Like, this is somebody. Again, I don't know if you saw this one too, Jeremy.
I did not see the. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I did see this
Well,
one. Yeah.
This one is wild. At least when it came to woke Little Mermaid Halle Bailey, at least she told people, whether it was real or not, I loved Little Mermaid growing up. I loved the animated movie. It was so amazing. This is Rachel Zegler.
Original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again. Like, I'm being so serious. I watched it once and then I went on the ride in Disney World, which was called Snow White's Scary Adventures. Doesn't sound like something a little kid would like. Was terrified of it. Never revisited Snow White again. So I watched it for the first time in probably 16, 17 years when I was doing this film. It's no longer.
Good Lord, man. She despises it.
Yeah,
She actively hates it.
Yeah.
Why
Like
would you? How would you hire some? Well, never mind. That's right. It's Disney, of course. This is the standard. You have to hire people that hate the property in which they are getting involved in, and they hate the fan base. Yeah, that makes sense.
What's wild is that they're not even doing promotion for this or anything, right? This movie doesn't come out for another year at least. Like, these are just old things she's said. Imagine what's going to happen when the strike ends and she starts doing more interviews, or when she's actually promoting this movie. Imagine how bad it's going to get.
Yeah.
Like, before it's even started, this movie is already destined for failure. Again, because it's not just angry right-wingers on YouTube. It's a lot of people. There's a lot of Disney fans coming out. There's a lot of people on the other side that are coming out and saying, hey, why are you so disrespectful towards Snow White? That's a classic, timeless, endless tale that a lot of us grew up with and we loved. Why are you saying that about the character you're supposed to be portraying? It's a fucking nightmare.
It is, and it's only going to get worse, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, I mean, it's just, she's insufferable. I mean, she is definitely taken the Brie Larson template, and it's going to hit another level. Of course, there's a lot of older stuff. It'll be interesting to see when she does any newer stuff. Once, I guess, the writer strike's over. I guess you can't say anything right now, right?
You can't do anything to promote, right? That's the rules with the strike. You can't, like, any interviews you're seeing right now, or, you know, things that they're doing for promotion were recorded before the strike. They even have to be straight up about that to let people know so no one gets in trouble. But yeah, until the strike ends, they can't do anything.
What a disaster. Good
She's
job,
giving us
Disney.
a lot of good thumbnails, though. So shout out to her.
Good job, Disney. Another wonderful pick to represent your brand. You just keep knocking it out of the park.
Another banger. Brennan Bellman for 199. Love the new setup, Ryan. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. Sort of amazing. Welcome to the 199. Beetle Johnson for 2 months. Y'all louder than Epic Mike on Monday nights.
No.
Objectively, no, we're not. Objectively a cat for 2. Mr. Krista is a paid member of Geeks and Gamers. Yeah, he supports. Jens Anderson to the Atari. I hate it, but it gets me. I love the Ahsoka Anakin duo. I hated everything Disney Star Wars, but still I'm excited. No doubt it will suck. It's pulling people in, man.
I'm excited. No doubt it'll suck.
Yeah, like it's pulling people in just because they love Hayden. Unknown member for 2 months. Jeremy, take the L. Connor Matthews, welcome to the 199. CR for 5. Say what you will about Dave Filoni. Clone Wars 2008 will hold a special place in my heart and made me love the prequels. There you go. The Long Way for 2. Disney Star Wars is worse than my name. That's Corn the Long Way. Anthony Buck, member for 6 months. I genuinely love hearing you guys argue. It's funny and entertaining. Keep up the great work. Roll Tide, go Pack, go, and let's go Padres.
Man, football season's almost here. I can't wait.
So Roll Tide,
Mm-hmm.
go Pack, go. Wisconsin, Green Bay,
South, North, and West, and the
Padres.
Padres. That's you're all over the map there.
Yeah, I don't get it. Because like there's some people when they tell you what their like favorite teams are, like, okay, you grew up in the 90s. Congratulations. You like the Dallas Cowboys, the fucking the Chicago Bulls, and the Yankees. Okay, I can tell you grew up in the 90s and you just picked the teams that were winning. But that one, I can't make sense of that shit. Sort of amazing for 5. Star Wars movie shows are dead, but I think there's a lot of love for video games. There's a good board game called Star Wars Rebellion. That's cool. Ben Giles, member for 2 months. Mommy and Daddy are fighting again. Ryan leaves G&G. Jeremy is our soon-to-be crazy divorced mom, while Daddy Ryan goes on to marry a hot, that motherfucker is not real lady. Hey, I'll follow. I haven't even followed her on Twitter yet, but hey.
She's showing up in my recommended to follow right now.
A lot of people have like tweeted her and followed it. So,
yeah.
Brendan Bellman, she's only following 16 people. It's an interesting mix.
Yes.
Brendan Bellman,
Tim Pool,
Barstool Sports.
Yeah.
It's weird. Brendan Bellman for 5. Love Toy Ryan, but Anakin Clone Wars was way better than prequels, where he was very whiny and cringe. Not Hayden's fault. Was given poor dialogue. I think that's like
Dave Filoni tricked George Lucas into writing that dialogue in the prequels, guys. So don't worry about it.
Oh no, because the prequels were great. But again, when you rewatch it and you're like, you could clearly see he's going for a Shakespearean fucking romance in space. You know what I mean? Like that's what it feels like.
I love the prequels. I'm just being sarcastic. I love the prequels. I think there's criticisms.
You're also supposed, just think of it, right? You're supposed to think that Anakin is a little bit whiny and like not ready and not mature enough to do this. That's why they don't grant him the rank of master, right? That's why that happens. But also, it's a reason to me why it's crazy that you would trust that person with a Padawan, especially a Padawan that is troubling to.
I love the prequels. I think that there are definitely some valid criticisms, especially for Phantom Menace and more so Attack of the Clones. I think there's valid criticisms. I still love the prequels unconditionally.
Jens Anderson for 20. I agree. Dawson's depressing. No passion, no emotion. Garfield's Bizarre Adventure. Welcome to the 199. I don't know why it says welcome, and then it says member for 6 months, but maybe just renewed. If Disney does a tax write-off on Snow White, leftists will melt down. That's a win. If they release it, Disney and others will roast it. That's a win. They can't do it. They've banked too much. Hey, we have a Latina Snow White. We're so progressive. They can't.
Yeah, they have to. Yep, they have to now.
Let's see. Taker for 5. You'll face more than just droids. You'll face Grand Admiral Elon and the toxic Star Wars fans. They're the real enemy. Yeah. Ryan for €5. Is Rachel Zegler implying stories can never include a man and it's saying a woman? If so, does it work both ways? Can either of you make sense of this? Can never include a man saving a woman.
It's essentially, I mean, her whole stance is that she doesn't want any damsel in distress stories. That's just really what it comes down to.
Or anyone who wants to like find love. Gross.
Yeah, exactly.
Jay's Greasy Wiggler for 199. MCU fan is a psyop. The real one died at Poogate. Taker for $2. Gator 2 Electric Boogaloo. Black Lives or Black Votes 199. MCU clown said to mention him in super chats. Yanks fan 199. Is Strays going to make more money than Blue Beetle? I don't know. It's like an R-rated comedy. We'll see. It's not projected to right now. Two Penny Puppet for 5. I hope they put Dune 1 back in theaters instead of Dune 2 because I haven't seen it yet. I want to see it in theaters, not IMAX. Or not Max. I don't know if there's any plans for that. Maybe there'll be a unique double feature.
I personally hope that happens. I don't think it will, but that would be cool because I would like to see it again in theaters.
Torben Christensen for 50. Dismal Star Wars. Rest in peace. It's time for a viewership strike. Alistair for 5. Have you thought about getting in contact with Jake Lloyd and invite him on Geeks and Gamers?
I kind of have PTSD about having any actors or Hollywood people involved at all, even if Jake Lloyd's situation. I don't want him being not affiliated with Geeks and Gamers. So I still have PTSD from that. I don't know what he's up to. I know he was in rehab a lot. I don't know what he's going on with him now.
Yeah, I was gonna say
That was years ago.
Public person.
Yeah, that was years ago. And trust me, the last thing he needs to come on Geeks and Gamers. That would not help whatever's been going on with him the last few years.
Yeah.
That would not help. That would only make things worse.
He probably thought he was gonna get shit for Turbo Man. not Star Wars. But Bonesaw is ready for $5. Lucasfilm has to have the highest concentration of narcissistic personality disorder on the planet to fail this consistently and blame everyone else. Yeah. Scott McKenzie for 2. Trump history definitely has the best memes. Yes. The Long Way for 2. The woman on the plane was talking about me. Dio Brando for 199. Jeremy can't speak to anything.
To anything.
I don't know what that is. Bonesaw is ready for 2. Ironic the MCU fan hates images of women. Steiner Math for 2. Jeremy swallows Filoni's corn the long way. My cum smells for 2. I hate it when my dads fight. For the Emperor 199. Nice straw man argument, Jeremy. Herb Thompson for 2. Jeremy and Beardo went to the same debate club.
I was wondering when these were coming. I was like, where's all the people roasting me? Like,
Yeah.
So I know point blank what's going to happen if I defend anything Dave Filoni or Disney Star Wars on my channel. I'm going to get crushed. So I'm well aware of that. I was like, where's all the fucking super chats? There they are.
Well, the irony is that's like what I get more that's what I get more pushback for than anything else. And it has been since the inception of my channel is when I talk about Dave Filoni.
What? You mean you get more people hate against your take?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very like you kind of know like.
Well, but it has definitely changed over the past 4 years though. My take hasn't changed. I used to get fucking blown up for it in 2019. Now it's different, but there's still a lot of fans out there.
Yeah.
But I just think that I made a video the other day. I clipped out. It's like, I think even people that love the character of Ahsoka are getting tired of her being utilized by Disney Star Wars.
I'm 100% in that category. I'm done. I've always said, regardless of any disagreements on the details, Ryan's still right about his overall take about what's happened and the direction. He's been calling this shit out for years about what direction they were going to go in with Disney Star Wars.
I have a video from like 2019 that has Dave Filoni, Grand Admiral Thrawn, and Ahsoka in it.
Yeah.
If you watch it now, it's fucking wild. It's so funny.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I just think that I'm interested to see how the Ahsoka series is going to play and have the interest level. They've hurt their brand so bad at this point in time, and we will see. We'll see how it plays out. There's going to get a huge bump to start, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
No doubt, it's going to be a massive bump to begin.
It's crazy to me that it's like we're in a fucking time loop. Like we just had people so excited for Hayden's return because of Obi-Wan,
and we saw how that played out.
Yeah, and it's like, do you not remember that?
I mean, it was bad. I think Obi-Wan's probably arguably some of the worst stuff we've seen. Like, it's right up there with like Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker. It's that bad. It's really bad.
I agree.
Disrespectful on every level. Here we are.
Scott McKenzie for 5. Please beach off with this epic Filoni Ahsoka simp Lucas arguing debate. Most important argument of the day, and we need D-Day Cobra history memes. Sir Hat for 5. It's hard to follow Jeremy's arguments when he starts arguing with the voices in his head. The Long Way for 2. Both y'all need a smoke. LOL. A Money Wilson for 5. Filoni keeping Ahsoka alive literally changed the entire Star Wars lore now. Girl is the key to everything. Just wait for this. For the Emperor 199. Ryan should have ignored that little kid. I should have just kept driving in my Tesla. Dragon Dan, remember for 2 months, Rachel Zegler's too angry. Can we get her some Trump supporting schlong to calm her down?
No, unfortunately.
CG Hero for 10 over on Rumble. Have either of you seen the movie RRR? If not, it should be on Netflix, and it'd be cool to hear your thoughts on it. I watched it. It's not necessarily, it's cool. Like, there's some cool parts about it. In terms of, like, a movie itself, I wasn't all hyped and over the moon like Chris was. There's some cool shit. There's some cool action.
I can't hear RRR without thinking about Chris Core. Like, that's all I think about now, because that's all it's discussed. I haven't seen it, but that's all I think of.
He's the man that made it a success. Vault 95 Survivor for 1. Who's ready for helicopter lightsabers? Bro, if one of these fucks doesn't just hold their shit up, start flying around, Dave Filoni has no fucking balls, all right? You introduce that shit in Rebels. If you don't fucking put it in live, to be honest, because it's so retarded. It's like one of the most retarded things I've seen in Star Wars. But if you don't utilize it in live action, it really makes you question what the fuck was that? Like, if someone's running away from you, like we saw, right? Like we saw someone running away in, what was that? We saw someone running away in Obi-Wan, right? When they were trying to find that Jedi. If you don't just fucking whip off your helicopter lightsaber for it, start chasing them, why the fuck didn't you? You know what I mean? When you introduce something like that, it has big ramifications that you can't just ignore.
Yep.
Wesley for 5. I think Rachel Zegler should get paid for every hour Snow White is streamed too, but she's going to wish she took the guaranteed money up front instead. That's my thing. If actors, if you want to go and play that game, if you just want to get paid off residuals and bet on yourself, okay. But you're also getting paid millions of dollars up front. That would have to go away if you want to get some kind of crazy deal like that. Because these things are not making money, but you're getting paid for it. And we're finally caught up.
We're caught up.
Fucking long ass stream.
What a day. Well, we have Mario Kart tonight on the main Geeks Gamers channel. Ryan won't be there as much as he's always asking if he can be there for Mario Kart. And I'm like, we don't need
never any
you,
room
man.
for me.
We don't need you. So one day maybe we'll let him back on. Although you do need to join us for some Mario Golf at some point. We're going to do some Mario Golf. So we got to do that. I know you're a big fan of Mario Golf. Very realistic golfing game.
Bro,
remember the first time we played
GameCubes and play fucking Tiger Woods 2005.
Fuck yeah, dude. Let's go. The first time we played Mario Golf, Ryan dressed up in like all of his golf gear and everything. He was all hyped. He was ready to go. Yeah, so tonight, Mario Kart. It's gonna be fun. Ryan, anything else going
on? No. No. Yeah, nothing.
Don't forget.
I've been posting a couple more stuff over on RK Outpost Live. So if you guys are following my main channel, go check out the live channel.
I liked your Pixar video. I liked your Pixar breakdown video. I think we agreed on most. There might be a couple that maybe minor disagreements for the most part.
But the biggest pushback I got was Ratatouille. I fucking shit all over Ratatouille.
Yeah, that one. We definitely disagree on Ratatouille because Ratatouille is awesome.
I hated that shit.
One. Why?
I don't really know. I just never. The entire premise of this stupid fucking rat want to be a cook was gay. I couldn't stand it.
Ratatouille's great. One thing we agree on completely, unequivocally, down to the passion that he spoke with it, it's Coco.
Yes,
Coco is so good. And I was like, I never imagined Coco could be that good. Coco is fantastic.
I didn't want to give it a chance. I was like, why do I want to watch just some shit all about Mexican stuff? I'm like, okay. But it's a really great movie. And it's got a great twist to it. If you're not crying during Coco, you don't have a soul.
Coco is phenomenal. It really is. But anyway, thank you guys so much. Appreciate you. Go over and check out Ryan's. That's on live? Is that on live?
It's on live.
His Pixar was like a quick review of every
brutally
movie.
Honest review of every Pixar movie.
Yeah, it's really good.
And as we get towards the end, it's like I haven't seen any of them, but I still included them.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Smash the melee button. You guys have a great day, and we will talk to all of you later. See you for Mario Kart tonight. Bye, everyone.